Tim, should we tell the listeners how to join the Golfweek Amateur Tour?
Yes, of course. We should probably do it now before we forget, though.
I agree. It's simple. All you need to do is go to amateurgolftour.net, click the Join the Tour button, and pay your local tour's membership.
Thanks, Chris. Membership for 2024 is open, so register today to join the oldest, largest, and best amateur tour in the country.
And remember, this podcast can be found on all the major platforms. So make sure you like, download, and share it with all your friends and family.
Chris, that's a great idea. Now, on to the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, Golfweek Amateur Tour, the podcast. Talking about all things Golfweek Amateur Tour, including interviews with tour directors, players, and course pros. Now, here are your hosts, Atlanta Tour Director Tim Newman and El Paso Las Cruces Director Chris Rocha.
All right, Tim, we're back at it with another episode. How you feeling, bud?
Did you enjoy your vacation?
I did. It was a good, relaxing time, no internet. So get to kind of put the phone in the safe and not have to worry about it. Kids really enjoyed it. And it was something that we'll probably do again.
Well, the question is, did your wife enjoy it? That's supposed to be her birthday vacation. Did she really enjoy it? I don't care. I really don't care if you enjoyed it or if the kids, because that's not what's really important.
Yes, she had a blast. Was able to do things that she wanted to do while we were over there in Disney World, and she's a big Disney fan, so she was able to enjoy her time and her birthday. And God, we're me and her are both getting close to 40, and it's just crazy. So
shut up, shut up. All right, close to 40. I guess we'll talk about it later. But I'm halfway plus to 60. Anyway, we don't want to talk about the bad stuff. We talked online. I said I wasn't bringing any negative energy. We got to talk about the good stuff.
No, it was great. It was a great time.
Good. But so it's back to work. We talked last episode. When March comes, that we really start rolling with tournaments, and you just kind of think about this. So 2 weeks ago, so the first week of March, there were 12 tours that had tournaments, as compared to the 3 or 4 that we were having from January into February. So we opened up March with 12 tours having tournaments. This past weekend, we had 7. And this coming weekend, check this out. So we have 8 local tours, and 3 of them are 2 days, and we have 2 regionals going. So we're going to have well over 1,000 players, playing this coming weekend.
That's crazy. Yeah, March is the time that everything gets rolling. You're going to have majors pop up before you know it. Regionals pop up. I mean, you and me are going to be hanging out, having a couple of beverages in the near future before we even know it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they serve in Michigan, and we know they serve hurricanes in Louisiana. So we'll have to just kind of wait and see on that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I've never visited both or either one, so can't wait. I'm excited.
Well, let's go ahead and bring in our first guest this week.
Yeah, definitely. So from, like you said, with a bunch of tours happening. This tour in particular has already had a couple events this season. So from the Charlotte tour, let's welcome in Scott. Scott, how you doing?
I'm great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Scott, it's always good to have you. Really not too far from me. You're right down the road. And it seems like the only time I see you is here and at national championships. So we really need to work on that.
Yeah.
or maybe we don't. Maybe I'm...
Oh, that's good. No, like I said before, I think the Cliffs would be a perfect opportunity, and I actually spoke with them, so that would be a great venue for us to put it together, Atlanta versus Charlotte tour kind of deal.
Well, hope you can put it together because we're in, and obviously if there's anything I can do to help facilitate that, just let me know.
Sounds good.
So you already had, 3 tournaments for the Golf Week side and 3 for the senior side.
Our third
right?
is coming up this Saturday. We had in February. My third one's this Saturday. It's first private club of the year, Country Club of Salisbury. And then Wednesday, we're playing in Edgewater down in South Carolina, just south of Charlotte, which is a really nice semi-private club. It's got bent greens, and they said the course is in fantastic shape. So I'm looking forward to that as well. couple really nice venues that we have. And we have a few coming up that are really good as well. Plus, then we have our regional in April, which is up at Sequoia National in the mountains. It's about an hour to the west of Asheville, and it's a mountain course, and it's absolutely fantastic golf course. So right at Cherokee, it's got the casino right there. We actually have rooms booked at the casino. So if guys want to play and come up for the weekend, play cards and play poker and do all the stuff in the casino and everything like that, as well as playing golf. It's kind of a fun time.
I think the problem with having it at a casino is, you, Chris and I there, we spend too much time at the casino and not enough time at the golf course.
Well, you have to spend enough time to play 18 holes, and then the rest of it, you can do what you want.
That can get dangerous real quick.
Yes, it can. I tell you from past experience, it's very dangerous to be up there for 2 or 3 days.
So how's turnout been for you so far?
We've had close to 100. We actually went over 100 on our senior event the last event we had. The one on Saturday, we're right at 100. So it's basically both tours were running right close to 100 players per tournament. As the spring comes, we'll get more and more participation because the weather gets better and better. A lot of the guys keep their eye on the weather to make sure that it's okay. So I think that once we get into April and May, that's when we get our full 120 fields.
That's great to hear that you're having that many guys at each event. I'm pretty sure those prize pools can be pretty big at that point.
Yeah, we've actually upped our prize pool this year. So, our first place is, our last event was $500 on every flight. And second place was like $250 for every single flight. So we're paying out pretty big payouts. Our total payout on 100, we had 104 at our last event. We had over $7,100 in payouts between the tournament prizes and the cash pools. So it's quite a nice thing. We had some guys that won $400 or $500 skins. So, it's a great turnout, and the guys love it because, the payouts are pretty good too.
Yeah, it looks like competition is pretty stiff already. If you look at the Golfweek side, you got two familiar names right at the top, with Jay Barnes and Joe Jaspers. With Jay already has 1,450 points. He's winning the senior side too, so already. So that's good.
Yeah, he's won every single event so far. He's won all 4 events that we've had. So he's kind of on a roll right now. Jay is.
And in the A flight, you got Roger Stevenson's got 662 points. That's pretty good for 4 events. Especially when you have when you've got large fields. That means he's playing well. Pretty much consistently. You go down to C flight. Kevin LePage, he's already punched his ticket to national championship. He won the regional at Sea Pines. This on the Golfweek side, and then down to the D flight. Craig Brown, he's got 625 points already too.
Yeah, we've got we're in very deep fields. Most every flight is 15, 20 guys minimum. So, especially when you get to C flight, B and C flight, we always have 25 guys in each one of those flights. We have deep fields for each flight. And, as we have a lot of national champions here too. So, we have a half a dozen national champions on the regular tour, and we have probably 4 or 5 on the senior tour as well. So, and, we have 3 defending champions this year. We have Eric Whitworth in the A flight from the regular tour. We have Joe Jaspers, of course, from the champ flight. John Bowman from the C flight on the senior side. So we had 3 national champions last year, which was really kind of nice. And, with Jay Barnes, a past champion, Jim Autry, a past champion, and Scott Roberts, a past champion. We've had a lot of guys, Bill Phillips on the senior side, Scott Padno. So we have a lot of guys that have won national championship, and they come back and play, and it's a great time. Yeah. We all have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, and then there's Chris and I who don't have any. We interview tour directors. We've got none.
Hey, I've been on this tour for 24 years and I don't have any either.
But you got players on your tour. Our tours don't have any.
Well, I see what you
mean.
Right. The tours, yeah. I was thinking, me personally, I'd love to.
Well, I was going to say, I got to, we need to check into what's going on the senior side in the A flight, because it looks like Scott that's you, is leading in the points right now.
Yeah, I was points champion both regular and senior tour last year in Charlotte. So I did pretty well last year, and I ended up 4th place in the senior national. So I had a pretty good year last year. I won like 7 events. Yeah. So, I love it. I'm getting old. You guys talking about how young you are. I'm going to be 62 here pretty soon. I'm a retirement age. And yet I'm competing against these young guys. I love it because I can hit it down the middle about 210 and they all hit it 300 sideways, So
we talk about that all the time. You're much better, dinking and dunking and taking your par and moving on than, hitting it out in the desert.
All right. So Scott, I'm looking at your page here. And I see something that's interesting. And we've talked about this before about, every tour kind of has their own par 3 thing, whether it's closest to the pin. I kind of borrowed David King's idea and do a cumulative score on par 3s within the flight. But you do something different. You want to explain that to us? I think it's called Polies.
That's correct. Yeah. I actually stole that from Central Carolina. Chuck has it's the pole length of the flag stick. So anyone that hits it inside the flag stick length, which is about 7 feet, on any of the par 3s wins. And then the pot gets divided by how many people hit it inside of that 7-foot radius on all 4 par 3s. So first few tournaments we've had between 5 and I think last week we had 10. But the pot was like $450. So, 10 guys, $45 a piece. But when some tournaments, they put the pins in such hard places that you get maybe 1. So, so we did it new this year, and it eases up a little bit on our side from the administrative side. So we don't have to ride back out on the course and gather all the closest to the pin things after the tournament and stuff. It kind of saves a little bit of time. And I don't have to worry about the guys coming in and then going, hey, I want a closest to the pin, but I don't have it. So I got to go out on the course and get it. And it's been more convenient. The guys like it because all 5 flights have an opportunity. You got the guys hit. Yeah. Well, you get the guys on Champ and A hit from 200 and the guys from, C and D hitting from 95 yards. And now they don't feel like they have to compete against the champ flight. All they got to do is compete against themselves. Right. It works a little bit better. Yeah, and the participation's way up. I mean, like I said, the previous years, our closest to the pins were $250 for 4, for the 4 par 3s, and now we're getting $450 in the pot. So a lot of guys are participating that didn't last year. So it's really up that money.
So do you just do that on one hole?
No, all 4 par 3s. So one guy can win 4 dimes.
Nice. Right.
If he hits it within 7 feet, all 4 holes, he can get it 4.
Right.
But like I said, the C&D guys now don't feel like they're competing against champ fighters all the time. They know that if they hit it in there close, they're going to win something. And it helps a lot.
Just curious, do you keep track on how many of those turn into birdies?
A great iron set needs more than good looks. It's got to be fast and got to be pure. But good looks never hurt either. The all-new ZX Mark II irons from Srixon.
No, I haven't. And the reason why is because if they circle the hole, then I don't know who won. And if they circle the birdie, then I don't know if they hit it inside 7 feet. So I actually have them circle their name. And that way I know that they got the pole. But I haven't correlated between, closest to the pin or the pole and birdies. It appears to be that it's vast majority make the birdies. I haven't really.
Yeah, I'd be curious to, if you had a chance to go back and check it, that'd be something that'd be interesting to see if 80, 90% are transitioning to birdies, or if you're getting a bunch of pars in there because they're 2-putting from 7 feet.
Yeah, I would guess it's probably just from a cursory look, I would say it's about 80%. I didn't see too many pars from pulleys. You just, I'm just kind of looking at it. It's a fun, like I said, the participation's up, and that's all I really wanted.
Right.
Is I wanted more guys to be involved with it, and I didn't want them to feel like, hey, look, I got to compete against a champ player as a D player, even though they're closer to the pit.
Yeah, like I said, that's the thing is if more people are getting in, I feel like they have a chance to walk away with something.
Exact, no matter what. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, that works out good. And like I said, we also we increased our flight skins as well. So now we're at $20 instead of $10, and that's also helped significantly. We each flight we separate every flight, so no flight competes against another flight for flight skins. So that's helped significantly. And like this weekend, I think with 100 guys, we had like $1,600. So basically, 80 of the 100 guys have already paid for it. And when they get to the guys that hadn't, most of them pay when they get to the tournament. So we get over 90% participation in flight skins, which we used to not get as much when it was $10 and we're combining flights and things like that. A lot of guys didn't want to do it because they were just, they didn't want to compete against the higher flights. So that helped a lot too.
Yeah,
So,
Lau on Tidewater does $20 flight skins too. We had Roger Cowan on, who does our rules, that last episode. And, if you got, 20, 30 guys in a flight, and like you said, 90% of them are getting in, that pot gets pretty big.
yeah. Well, like I said, we had a couple guys last week. We had one D flyer won $420.
It's a D flight, right?
It was the only skin.
That's
D flight.
That's pretty good.
So,
but you don't you don't pay out pars, do you?
No, only birdies.
I knew I liked you. I knew I liked you.
D flyers, they had so many birdies.
Yeah, I keep telling my deflighters, you need to switch because they requested pars are better. And I tell them, y'all need to switch to birdies are better because, paying out $16 per skin is a lot more embarrassing than paying out, $65 for 3 skins. And they keep fighting me that they want pars are better. And I don't understand it. I really don't.
I don't either. Well, and I tell the guys all the time, I say, especially like in super skins, I get some guys that don't participate in super skins. And I said, look, it's a $10 deal. So if you play 15 events, it's $150. You win one super skin, you win $300 or $400. It pays for itself.
Absolutely.
Just one time. I've had more guys that don't get in that would have won a super skin. I had a guy make a hole in one, a sea fighter last week, made a hole in one, and he wasn't in the super skid. It's like, cost yourself $300.
And Scott, all you can do is shake your head. All you can do is shake your head at them and look at them.
Yeah.
There's these guys.
Well, I love them, and I understand why they do it, but I also tell them, look, for the little bit of money that you may spend, the one you get a year more than offsets the amount that you spend.
Right.
So,
yeah. and it feels good. Put that cash in your pocket, right? At the end of the day.
Oh, yeah, they love cash.
Let's talk about your regionals, because we definitely don't want to repeat of last year because the weather was atrocious and you guys got washed out. And it's too bad because, like you said earlier, it's a beautiful facility up there. So tell us a bit more about the course.
Well, Sequoia National is owned by Harris Cherokee. But it's a very, it's a mountain course. It has bent grass greens, but it's a player's course. You have to hit the ball straight there. But it's also, they call it a gambler's course because it has 5 par 5s and 5 par 3s. And it also, in the 8 par 4s, 6 of the 8 par 4s are reachable. But it's very difficult to hit the greens because the greens are so small and there's stuff everywhere around them. So it's virtually impossible to hit a par 4 green, even though, a couple of the holes are under 300 yards. But it's virtually impossible to hit a green there on a par 4. But the course itself is just, everyone that's gone there has told me the same thing. It's one of the nicest golf courses they've ever played. It's always in super shape. They don't get a ton of play, so the course isn't beat up at all. And at the end of April, it's all lush because it's growing fast. So everything is green and lush, and the greens are fast, and it's just such a fun golf course to play.
Yeah, and there really is something special about playing a mountain course at that time of year. Because I do what we call our northern Georgia swing, and we play 2 or 3 courses up in the mountains in North Georgia, and they're beautiful. The weather is nice, and there's just something about playing those mountain courses at that time of year.
Oh, I totally agree. And like I said, as long as the weather, we did move it back a couple weeks this year. So last year was early April. Now it's towards the end of April, which we had 2 years ago, and we caught 2 beautiful days 2 years ago when it was 80 degrees both days. So I'm crossing my fingers that we get that kind of weather again this year. The extra 2 weeks really makes a big difference, especially in mountains.
It does.
So
it really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for a good mountain course. So, Tim, I know we've been talking about where we need to go next year, and kind of liking this one, my friend.
Come on out.
Got to sign up early. I think it's funny. I think I only have like 6 or 8 spots left already.
Yeah, if they don't get on quick, they're out. It's because, like you said, you're almost full.
Yeah, well, it's getting, like I said, it's getting that reputation. The guys are out there telling everybody else what a great golf course it is. And, that kind of reputation, bodes well. And now I've also, some of the other directors we've all kind of coordinated where we don't have a tournament the same weekend that somebody else has a regional. So that helps too. So, all the local tours around me don't have any tournaments. So that really helps as well.
I missed a memo on that one.
That's okay.
But you got, I mean, I looked at this last night. You've got 14 of my guys going up there, which is so far, which is great. And we're actually in the mountains. North Georgia.
More than welcome to come as a tour director. You get a deal.
I know. See, again, we're positive vibes here tonight. But again, you got 14 of our guys from Atlanta so far going up there, and I know they're going to love it. It's going to be great.
Well, like I said, the best part is that a lot of guys, like Central doesn't have a tournament, and neither does Columbia, and Charleston doesn't. And Upstate obviously doesn't anymore either. So, we're in a position where we've got a lot of players that are not playing that weekend anyway. So it really helps, really bring out everybody. And I think that's why it filled up so early this year. So
I think so. I think you're right. No, again, it's going to be beautiful up there. Plus, it's going to be at a casino. There's stuff to do after golf.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's fishing. Guys like to fish and they like to hunt. There's places up there. There's beautiful fishing areas up there. And then for the kids and stuff, there's tubing and there's gold mining and stuff like that. If you bring your family, there's family things to do. Cherokee itself is all, Indian reservation stuff that they have, a lot of shops and restaurants and things in Cherokee it's a very family friendly area. And they've got tours that go up into, they have the railroad tours, and then they have the bus tours, and then they have the tubing down the river, and just a whole bunch of different stuff to do.
Yeah, it's a good time. So if you have not already registered, I would do so quick. Otherwise, you're going to be shut out. Well, Scott, thanks so much for taking some time with us tonight. Looking forward to seeing how things turn out at Sequoia, and hopefully we'll get Cliffs taken care of, and we'll be together sometime this year.
Sounds great. All right, guys. Appreciate your time.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, well, Chris, I'm glad we got to talk to Scott. Had some technical difficulties the first time we tried to connect with him, but to me, it's always good to have tour directors from, the really large tours to kind of, see what's going on, see what they're doing, so that, we can take or steal some of what they're doing and bring it to our tours.
Yeah, it's always great to talk to directors like that. I know we get to do it at least once a year at the big directors meeting, but being able to have them on here, I don't want to say stealing, because me and Gabe, I borrow some things he does and he borrows some things I do. And, we let each other borrow the belt every other year in our Ryder Cup. I like borrowing better than stealing, because eventually I'll get it back. I'll get the idea or another idea back. But no, he's doing a great job over there. Him talking about how tiring having 100 members in an event is. Shoot, I can't wait till I get those numbers.
Well, the thing of it is with him is, you've already had a few events, but he's got both a regular tour and a senior tour, and he's already had 3 events each way, so far, plus, he went to both icebreakers. He's got his regional coming up, which, again, if you haven't already registered for Sequoia National, you better get on it and get on it quick, because that is probably one of the premium destinations that we're playing this year.
Yeah, I was looking at the website where we were talking to him, and it looks very. It's beautiful, and I got to play Paynes Valley and that regional last year, and that was fun. I just like these mountain courses. I don't know what it is about it, so that might be one that we discuss for next year's circuit for us. And we'll go from there. But I eventually I'll make it out there. And that one's probably one I'll take my family out with, because they'll have things to do and they can do schoolwork during the day while I'm golfing.
Well, here's the problem, and I know we're going to get into this a little bit with our next guest. The problem with the date for the Sequoia National for me is that's the weekend of the Heritage here on the island, and where I was last year, and I don't want to miss that. So,
right.
Maybe we need to talk to Scott about, changing the date on that. But again, those mountain courses in mid to late April are beautiful. Like I said, we in Atlanta, we do our North Georgia mountain swing, and guys love playing up in the mountains at that time of year.
Yeah. We do our Beat the Heat major championship in the mountains, typically either 1st of May or end of May. One of the courses we play of is right on the top of the mountain, and it's just beautiful sights. You got deer watching you hit your approach shots, and some crossing in front of you while you're trying to hit, and it's just a great time.
Well, go ahead and introduce our next guest.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we were going to talk about golf, and our next guest was excited to get back on. So if you all remember him, if you don't, definitely go back and check it out. But John Robertson, welcome to the show again.
Well, thanks, guys. It's great to be back with you, and heard you talking about your mountain golf. You all can have your mountain golf. I like the flat courses, and my father, whenever I'd go home to Maryland and play golf with my father, there's some hills, not mountains, but hills. And if it's 175 yards down a hill, I don't know what club to hit. So, it's not 175. So, y'all can have the mountain courses, but I'm sure they're beautiful.
They are. And Joe, one of the things I love about it is the ball goes farther. I don't hit the ball very far. So when the ball goes far, I say, yeah, it's great for me.
Yeah, it's a different, the last time I was with you guys, I remember talking about how great golf was because, every swing and you could play the same course day after day after day, and every shot is going to be different than the previous day. Uh-huh. The second shot on hole 3 will always be different than yesterday. And to go to play a mountain course or a flat course or a course in different weather, humid weather or thin air or cold, or it's just every minute is different, and that's just what's so exciting about golf.
Yeah, the course that we play called Rainmakers in Alto, New Mexico. We call it Pain Makers because it'll make you cry after 18 holes. But you start off with a par 5 that has the mountain ridge literally on the right side of this hole. So if you go right, goodbye to your ball. With an island green. And then the next hole number 2 is a par 5. Pretty straight, but bunkers like every 30 yards down the middle of the fairway. And the third hole is a par 3 with a 250-yard drop. So you talk about not knowing what club to hit. You pick a club and you pray it's long enough. And if not, you hope it bounces off the mountain side and goes towards the hole, because after those 3 holes, you know, everything else it gets easier, but you got to get through those 3 holes first. So when we do shotgun, bless the people behind the champ flight, guys, because it might take a little while to get through those 3.
Exciting. It's really exciting.
So John, you played in the senior icebreaker a few weeks ago. How'd you do?
Well, I was registered to play in the regular icebreaker a few weeks earlier. The first time I was a guest on your show, I, had my winter cold, and I don't know if you remember, sort of losing my voice, but that cold lasted, all half of December, all of January, half of February. And so I had to pull out of the regular icebreaker, unfortunately, at Harbor Town and Trent Jones, Palmetto Dunes. So that's why I was excited to play the senior icebreaker, because I was, ready to play the senior icebreaker this year here at Hilton Head. We had it at Seapines, Atlantic Dunes, and then, or was it Heron Point first? Anyway, the two,
Atlantic Dunes and then Heron Point.
Yeah, that's how well I did, because I forgot which course was first. No, I played pretty well. I didn't, I never played that well at Atlantic Dunes. I think Atlantic Dunes is a real professional course. I mean, you've got to be on your game, especially when you hit trying to hit and hold the greens and putt on those greens. They're really magnificent greens. And they didn't used to be. They used to be great greens before Davis Love redesigned the course. But when the course, Atlantic Dunes, the original course was called the Ocean Course,
right?
The Seapines Ocean Course. Mm-hmm. And actually, that was the very first golf course built on Hilton Head in 1960. Charles Frazier at Seapines built that course as the very first golf course on Hilton Head. And he called it the Ocean Course because one hole 15, the green is a par 3. The green is right on the ocean. So, and then over the years, that green, they redesigned the green a few times. It was at one time a real big bowl green. Another time it was a little bit flatter. So now it's a very fair green, although if you miss it right, it goes straight down that hill. But when Davis Love came in to redesign, they renamed it the Atlantic Dunes. And the greens and around the greens, just very challenging. So, and that's why it may be one of the top 3 courses in our area. Needless to say, I didn't play that great, day 1 at Atlantic Dunes. I don't know. I think I was middle of the pack. Day 2 at Heron Point. Heron Point was Seapines' second golf course that they built adjacent to Atlantic Dunes. And it was the original name of Heron Point was Sea Marsh. It was called the Sea Marsh course. And then they redesigned it and renamed it Heron Point. And I love Heron Point. Heron Point seems to be a bit fairer. Is that the right word? More fair?
Yeah. And
I'm not going to say easier, but it's a little bit more gettable, I guess. The greens aren't as undulating and they don't seem to be as quick. So you have a little bit of chance to 2-putt maybe. And I tell you, I think we got a lot of golf courses in our area down here in the Hilton Head and Bluffton, Savannah area. But I think the 18th hole at Heron Point is one of the best closing holes around. It gets in your gut. It's a tee shot with water all the way down the left side and a little strip of bunker, sort of like Pebble Beach 18. There's a little strip of bunker down there and you can hit it and it goes parallel to the water. And I think they put it there to make it a bit more fun for tourists. But, you want to obviously hit right side, right center of the fairway with a little draw to draw it towards the green. But the green, it's more like a peninsula green. It's not an island green, but you've got water left, water back, and it's sort of at an angle. So you got water on three sides of that green. And boy, it gets in your gut. It really gets your attention, that approach shot on 18 at Heron Point. Love it. It's exhilarating.
Yeah. That hole you can watch from the Atlantic Dunes clubhouse, which is beautiful, by the way. And you see guys, coming in. It's a great place. Sitting from the clubhouse, out on the deck there, it's a great place to watch because, on one side you can see 18. Well, if you go around to a little bit, you can see number 9 of Atlantic Dunes as well, right there on the water.
That's right. From that clubhouse, the owner of Sea Pines Amenities is also the owner of Kiowa Island. And, if you go to Kiowa Island, it's, they absolutely, their golf resort is one of the best in the country. And you can see a lot of that Kiowa personality in the Atlantic Dunes and Heron Point Clubhouse. It's called Plantation Clubhouse.
Right.
And then you go over to Harbor Town and you look at that clubhouse. It's just very, very regal. And it's, when you get the chance to play golf at Sea Pines, either Atlantic Dunes or Heron Point or Harbor Town, it's a real treat. It's not just nice golf, but it's real. You feel like you're in a real special place.
Yeah, I agree. And you talk about the greens at Atlantic Dunes. I think everybody that came off the course on Friday was saying how fast they were. Hard to get the ball to stop. Again, I know I said this a bunch in the last episode, but guys were putting the ball off the green into the water on hole number 9. Pretty much regular. That's how fast they were.
Oh yeah. There's 2 holes at Atlantic Dunes. They're both par 5s. One of them is hole number 9 and one of them is hole number 17, where if you better be careful, because if you go for it in 2, even if you go for it in 3, if the pin is back or on one of the edges of the green, there's nothing to hold it. If it's rolling, if you hit it a little bit too far, it's just green and it goes right down to the water. There's no fluffy grass. There's nothing to catch it. So you do have to pay attention. And when we played Atlantic Dunes hole number 9 that weekend, the pin was right. It was right. And if your second shot, if you're laying up, of course you want to hit the ball left of the fairway so you have a better angle. But if for some reason you're right side, like I was, you're literally hitting over a bit of that water to a small, maybe 15-yard section of that green. It really does get your attention, and that's what golf's all about. It's fun to play courses that don't hurt you, and you have, it's pleasurable. But when you play a course like Atlantic Dunes and Heron Point and Harbor Town, it gets your attention, and that's what you practice for.
Right. Well, let's shift gears real quick from event that you played. Tim was talking about a regional might having to be moved, but you're in the same area, so. Tell me, are you excited for the event coming up in your area, or for at least the PGA wise, or how do you feel when the Heritage comes out?
ZX Mark II drivers are for major players, major winners, major power. All new ZX Mark II drivers, only from Srixon.
The Heritage is, I've lived here on Hilton Head for 34 years, and I came to Hilton Head as a tennis pro, and I taught tennis at Sea Pines Racket Club for 3 years. So I was down in the heart of Harbor Town for those years, and during the spring we had a professional women's tennis tournament, and then the week after was it was called the MCI Heritage back then, but it was the Heritage Golf Classic. The week after the Family Circle Magazine Cup tennis. The Heritage, the RBC Heritage, is the absolute gem on our calendar for any event on Hilton Head. Everybody, Islanders, most of the people that live here full time really focus their full attention to that week, and they either have friends come in town or family. They all the Islanders do their best to get tickets, and there's a lot of tickets handed around. For many years, I really didn't purchase tickets, but people would have them and say, "Hey, JR, you want a ticket?" "Sure, I'll go." So you always got a chance to go down there. But over the last few years, I just want to make sure I'm there, and I want to bring friends and and maybe customers, real estate clients of mine. And I want to make sure that I'm there, and I want to make sure that my favorite people are there with me. So I tell you, when the Heritage is here last year, it was maybe I had the most fun being there. The weather was great. The golf was phenomenal. The year before, Jordan Spieth won it. And how great is it for a hometown to have a PGA tournament when Jordan Spieth wins it? You carry your little chair around, or you carry a drink or two around, you have your hat on. And it's not just watching golf, but it's really a big party. If you watch those, who are listening to this, if you watch it on TV, you really should watch it on TV, because they show a lot of Hilton Head. CBS does a great job of showing off Hilton Head Island. You see the lighthouse, and you see the Calabogie Sound, and you see Defusky Island, which is across the sound. You see the ocean, you see birds, and you see dolphin, and you see palm trees, and it's all real. That's Hilton Head Island, and that's pretty much how it is here all the time. But what goes on when you're watching on TV, you're watching, the players compete in a tournament, but when you're there, it's almost like a party in the background. A lot of people go there just to be there. And you see a lot of women wearing the springtime dresses and hats, carrying around fun drinks. Everyone's dressed up, and you don't see many T-shirts and cutoffs. You see a lot of golf clothes, and people sort of get dressed up to go. And it's a real special, very special week here on Hilton Head.
Yes, it's like this Southern culture week, and Chris, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for the island for any number of reasons. JR's talked about it before. How the island has been rated one of the best islands in the country,
right?
But this is a big deal because all of golf is focused on Hilton Head for a week. And, not only talking about the revenue that it brings in that helps sustain the island, but it's a major driver for tourism, for people that haven't been here before, seen it on TV. It drives them in. It drives in for the golf community who's never been here before, so sees it on TV and brings it in. But like JR said, if you want to find somebody on the island during Heritage Week, you need to go to Sea Pines, because that's where they are.
Yep. And let me give you a little bit more background. Two things. One, so the guys on the Golfweek Amateur Tour, a lot of them will not only go to be spectators, you see them all out there, but a lot of the guys participate in the tournament. For a few years, I caddied for the Pro-Am. I would caddy for the Monday Pro-Am and for the Wednesday Pro-Am, just partially to be inside the ropes. And, you're with your amateurs, but each group of amateurs has a real professional as part of the group. And it was very exciting and unique. Of course, as a Pro-Am caddy, you get paid by the PGA or by the tournament, and you get a ticket to come watch for the rest of the week. And it's super exciting and, once in a lifetime almost. And some of the other guys, there's a guy, one of my greatest friends on the tour, his name is Rich Davies. He also volunteers for the tournament. I don't know what his title is, but he's one of those guys that walks with a foursome. He's the guy that sends through a computer, sends the stats to, CBS. And that's when they flash up, how far he hit it and what club he used. And you see the line in the air when the ball goes up and then comes down. That's why there's so many people in a foursome following the players. They've got to do all those kind of things. So Rich, he's done that for years, and he takes off from work all week, and that's where he is. And so you see a lot of our guys who play our Golfweek Tour, they're at Harbortown during the Heritage, and it's a once a year kind of great golf celebration. But one thing about the Heritage, and maybe a lot of people don't know this, is the reason for it. Let's go back to, it's not a long story, but in the 1950s, there's a guy named Charles Fraser who decided to come to Hilton Head Island and develop a big tract of land, and he called it Sea Pines. And it started back in 1956, and that's when he started to create a resort for people to come and build a house and be down here part of the year or all year. And then to attract more people, they started building golf courses. So they built the Atlantic Dunes course first, then they built the Heron Point golf course, but then they wanted to attract an international audience. They wanted to attract national and international. So they started to build the Harbortown Marina. And in 1969, they created the very first Heritage Golf Tournament. It was a PGA event, started in 1969. The whole point of it was to attract and have people from all over the world learn what Sea Pines is all about. That was the main reason why Charles Fraser created this golf tournament. And the very first winner, do you guys know who the very first winner was of the Heritage?
I don't.
It was Arnold Palmer in 1969. And for Arnold Palmer to win it, that put Hilton Head Island on the map. And you see a photo of Arnold Palmer holding his trophy, and in the background is the Harbortown Lighthouse, which wasn't completed yet. There was scaffolding on it, and it just wasn't completed yet. So the whole point of bringing a PGA event to Harbortown was for Charles Fraser to put Sea Pines and Harbortown on TV and to bring attention to Sea Pines. And he sure did. He sure did.
He did. And that's a lasting legacy. But the other thing, we talk about how big of a deal it is, for the island. It also raises a ton of money for charity through the Heritage Foundation. And
right.
that we talk about it here on the island a lot, how important that tournament is and what it does. But, I think it's a lot like other tournaments in other places. Yeah, they know it raises money for charity, but they really don't ever really see the benefits of it. And I think we're lucky here because the island is the island. We do see the benefits of having that tournament and what it does for charities.
Absolutely. And the tournament director, his name is Steve Wilmot. And, he's been doing what he's doing as long as I've been here. And I assume he's been doing it since the 80s. It's just as important. The tournament is just as important as the charitable arm of this event. And they take that very seriously. And it goes to a lot of good causes, and locally, golf related, children related. And it's the best. If you want to come to Hilton Head for 1 week of the year, you choose the Heritage Week, and that's always always.
John, hold on now. You got to come for 2 weeks. You got to come for 2 weeks.
There's 2 weeks. There's 2 weeks. I mean, if you're a golf spectator, the best.
There you go.
The best week to come if you want to watch. Well, there's 2 weeks if you want to come watch great golf. You come in mid-October and you come in mid-April. Probably two of the best events on the planet. One of them is, of course, the Golfweek National Championships. So that's part of the reason why I live here on Hilton Head, because there's these kind of events. There's a lot of towns in America and all over the world that have golf tournaments that attract some of the greatest players in their town. They do a great job hosting and charity and so forth. But I tell you, to live on Hilton Head is it's such a pleasure. And part of it is being at the Heritage. And if you've never done it, then reach out to me and I'll help you get tickets. It is absolutely well worth it. And it's part of it is because it's springtime. Around the country, there's different times. The springtime, it gets nice in different times. But here in Hilton Head, you start to smell the spring, sometimes first week in March, sometimes middle of March, sometimes late February, for God's sake. But by the time April comes around, The sun is out. You're wearing shorts. You have a visor on or a hat. You're wearing your sunglasses. You're outside, and it's exciting. And it's a party, and it's a celebration. And all of a sudden, the Heritage is starting, and you're standing there on hole number 2 watching. I remember maybe 30 years ago, I was watching. It was 1992. I was on number 2 tee box, par 5 at Harbortown, watching Freddie Couples, and he had just won the Masters that year, or maybe it was 91 when I saw him. But I had never seen such an easy swing where the ball went so far from watching Freddie Couples. It was just the most amazing thing, and you see it over and over and over. My favorite player is Jack Nicklaus, obviously because of statistics and how incredibly powerful he was. But I think my favorite player to watch was always Raymond Floyd. And I think I mentioned this in the last time I was on the show. But this was 1992, and the Heritage is always the week after the Masters. So oftentimes you get some of the players who played well at the Masters who want to come and continue their good play. So we've always had good players come to Hilton Head. And this was in 1992 when Raymond Floyd was tied with second, 49 years old, tied second behind Freddie Couples. So, and I'd never seen Raymond Floyd play. So I got a ticket to go. It was either day 1 or day 2. And so I started following this Raymond Floyd guy, and I'd heard of him, but I really never paid attention. And just watching him play at 49 years old, he had incredible length. He was an incredible putter of the ball, very good touch, one of the best around the greens. From 50 yards in, he was unmatched. And he shot a 63 that day, and I watched him all 18 holes. And when you got a twosome or a threesome walking down fairways, you've got caddies, you've got scorekeepers, you've got a lot of people, but he would typically be behind everybody walking down the fairway with his visor right above his eyes, looking like General Patton. I mean, it was such a treat to watch that old legend play.
I just pulled up the RBC Heritage website, and it says that tickets for Saturday are already sold out.
They are. So because I bought them all.
There you go.
I didn't buy them all, but you got to buy them early.
You do.
Once Jordan Spieth wins here, you better start buying your tickets early.
Yeah,
it's that popular. But yeah, you're right. Saturday's sold out.
Well, he stays at the motor coach resort. When he's in town? Yeah, absolutely.
Which one, on the north end?
No, down by Sea Pines on the south end.
Wow.
So
what?
So funny story, and that's where Jen and I stay. You always know when the PGA player is in there because at least last year they were in the blue BMW. Okay, so you drive around, and so you drive around, and Jordan's was there, and I kept telling her, I said, his wife was out with the kids. I said, please leave them alone, just please, I'm begging you, just leave them alone. We never saw Jordan, but we left the course Sunday, so like we were one of the last ones to leave after the presentation, everything. It started raining a little bit. We get back and it was dark, and their rig is pulling out. And Jen said, "Oh, he's just pulling out." I said, "No, Jordan's already on his jet heading back." She said, "No, He's driving it." I said, "Jordan Spieth does not drive his rig." And she kept saying, "Yeah." And so, we followed out a little bit, and we pulled into where we stay, and like right down the road, you can see where they hook up the car. And she said, "Please take me over there. I want to see him." And I look out there, and it's the tow car that they've got. It's a pickup truck with Missouri license plates on it. I said, "Honey, Jordan Spieth, number one, is not driving this. And number two, Jordan Spieth does not drive a pickup truck with Missouri plates. He's from Texas." Okay?
Sure.
And so she says, "Well, I'm going over there anyway." She walked over there, and it was the guy that they pay to drive it.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
Good.
So anyway, how's real estate on the island?
Real estate is good. I remember when I was the guest on the show. Was it early January? I think it was maybe.
It was December.
Was it December?
It was
okay.
December, but we aired in January.
Okay. And I think when I was first on, my response was, it's a little slow. But then I thought, it's typically slow after Halloween. People start to get ready for Thanksgiving, they're traveling, kids, better get into school and do well. Christmas and the holidays are coming. And, people tend to, here on Hilton Head, a lot of the transactions are for second homes or investment property. So it's rare to have a family that moves here full time. It's mainly second homes and that type of thing. So sometimes people put it on the back burner during the fall into the winter. So, but at the same time, interest rates had popped up a little bit. I remember saying to y'all, I'm pretty sure it's just slow and a little quiet, but after the holidays, it's going to pick up. And it has. It's as long as properties are priced right and, appealing. What's appealing? It's somewhat renovated. It has a little bit of a view. When people come down here and they want a second home or vacation property, they want to sit on the balcony and look at something nice,
right,
like a lake or, golf course, maybe an ocean or a river or something pretty. So, if all those boxes are checked, then people are purchasing.
Right.
The COVID years, I'd say 2022 was the peak, give or take. And, sometimes, as an owner considering selling, if you're in that kind of a market, then it's almost, you could name your price. And that's pretty much how it was. And then when the market changes, where it gets a little bit more normal, some sellers are still holding on to that. So there are some properties that are still a little overpriced, but that's okay. Seller wants to sell it for as high as they can sell it. So there are some properties that are sitting, but buyers are looking and buyers are making their choices. And biggest thing right now, and this is a message to sellers anywhere, it just seems that buyers today, unlike maybe 15 years ago, buyers today prefer a property that's been renovated. There's still a lot of folks who say, well, I want something that needs a lot of work because I'll get it at a better price and then I'll renovate it at a wholesale price. So there's still people like that, but more and more people prefer a property that's shiny and brand new, new looking and pretty and, has bells and whistles. So a message to sellers, is renovate your property as you go, or if you decide to sell your property, then make sure there's a little bling and it's updated somewhat. You don't have to go nuts, but just make sure it's not original condition like my grandmother's house was. So,
but John, it's funny you say that because my wife and I were having this conversation, just the other day. We were looking at a couple of things, and I said, look, these things are not priced right. I mean, they're priced a little too high, and that's why they're not moving. She said, well, you're probably right. But the other thing is, do you think the whole idea of buying something that's already been renovated has anything to do with inflation and the cost of materials, and you'd rather have somebody else put that money out and then you just pay for it on the back end as opposed to you having to worry about paying for those for the cost of materials, especially lumber and paint and all those other things?
No, I don't. It's a good question though, and the answer would have been yes during the COVID years.
Okay.
That's when no one could get anything during COVID years, and even today when we're a few years out of it, I still hear some companies say they're understaffed, which just sort of baffles me. But with the material topic, materials, that was a real issue during COVID. But now, no, it's not. And most buyers, when a seller or an owner decides to sell, and they say, well, should we take the carpeting out and put in luxury vinyl plank, or, a faux wood, or, travertine tile or whatever. And then the question is, well, what if we put that in and then the buyer doesn't want that? the buyer loves our property. They love the view. They love the location. They love the size, the number of bedrooms, but they don't like the flooring. What if they want to put in something different? So then the buyer or the seller feels, well, we don't want to spend the money for that reno when the buyer, it's not a value to the buyer. So that's a topic,
right?
So that's why when you see properties that have been renovated, sometimes they look pretty vanilla, so an owner may paint the walls like a real basic color that's not going to offend anybody. Uh-huh. And they may, put your basic quartz stone countertops and, nothing over the top. But as long as an owner over the years, they just keep up their property. There's there's too many properties where in fact, I just helped a couple put their condo up for sale, and we just got a buyer, and now we're under contract. They've got a condo here in South Forest Beach. They're not golfers, so that I know they're not listening, but they've owned this condo for years and years. They're from Atlanta, and it's a second home, and it's an oceanfront condo, but it's straight out of 1985. The flooring and the countertops and the cabinets and the furniture and the popcorn ceiling and everything, so when I'm there to help them price their condo for sale, I've got to tactfully let them know that maybe it's not going to, we shouldn't list it at the very high end, because a buyer will come in and they'll say, hey, I love the location. I love the view. I love the size of the condo, but we're going to have to renovate. We're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do that. So that's a big deal, and the missus, this is a very comfortable condo for her. And for them, it's a great value, but for a buyer, they have to them, right, they've got to do a lot of work. Right. So that's why I recommend just renovate it as you go, so you don't have to do a big project at the end.
So do you know who's great at renovations and interior design and vision and stuff like that? Who's good at that? Seriously.
It must be Chris.
No. Jennifer McCormick.
Yes, she is.
She is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
You're not kidding. And I know Jennifer might be listening to this, but I would say yes, she is anyway. I helped Dennis and Jennifer sell one of their condos years ago, and it was the best one, one of the best ones in the community. It really was. I mean, it was a beautiful condo, and they really prettied it up, and it sold very quickly.
When I first was getting to know them, she showed me some stuff at their house in Charlotte and stuff at the condo that she sold. And there was one piece that I said, oh man, I really like that. And she said she made it. It was welded together. I mean, she welds. I mean, she's got incredible vision. She's phenomenal.
She is. She really is. And I wish we'd see her more often. I mean, we see her at the Nationals, but I wish Jennifer could come out to some of the other, maybe the 2-day regionals. Be neat to see her out there.
I agree. And let's put it this way. If she's not listening, this will be a test. We'll ask her, say, did you hear what we said?
I like it. Jennifer, you better be listening.
But JR, thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight. I really do appreciate it. It's good seeing you again. Good. When are you playing again?
Every tournament that Dennis has. And when this airs, I will have played the Atlantic Dunes tournament.
Oh, yeah.
About 10 days ago. And I'll tell you next time how I did.
Awesome.
No. The bigger question, Tim, is, when are you submitting a shirt to the shirt contest?
I saw that. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't know much about that, but hey, if it's a contest, I'll get into it.
Well, you've got to submit a unique shirt that represents any course that the Golfweek Amateur Tour plays. You have to wear it during the tournament the entire time. It's got to be worn outside. So we're not going to have any more cold weather here, I don't think. And you have to have a picture of you, a picture of your group, and then it's got to be uploaded to Facebook with the hashtag.
And what kind of shirt should it be?
Just a regular golf shirt. I mean, it's something that's unique. We've gotten some. I know some guys who haven't started playing yet have sent me some pictures of what they're doing. Very interesting. And ultimately, there's going to be one winner, and they're going to win free entry into national champ.
And it's just me, right? I mean, everybody doesn't have to wear the same shirt. It's just what I'm wearing.
Just what you're wearing.
Right.
But we want to get it. But we want to get a group picture of everybody that's in your group that day.
Okay, with me wearing my submission.
Yes.
Correct. Right. And is there a deadline for this?
So each month. So it's and again, you have to look at the rule sheet. I don't want to say something online. You know, kind of like my students. You say one thing, it may be off a little bit, and then they say, "Well, you said this."
Right. Okay.
It's each month. It's got to be submitted by the end of the month for the tournament. So if the tournament was in March, you have to submit it in March.
Okay. I'll do it.
All right.
I'll do it. And Chris, I plan on winning.
There you go.
All right,
guys, good to talk to you, and looking forward to talking with you again.
All right, bud. Take care.
Yes,
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye. In one interview we had with JR, I mean, he knows more history about that island than I thought I'd ever know. So it's great to hear it. But I mean, he's just, I can imagine going to that tournament with him. I mean, with you, with Dennis, and just having a great time. It'd be something that might have to be in the books, hopefully in the near future.
Yeah, he knows a lot, and he's fun too. He makes the whole thing fun and interesting. I thought it was really funny when he said, if you're only going to come for 1 week, it's got to be Heritage Week. And,
both those at the same time had to pull it off.
But the funny thing is, if you look at the weather here on the island, mid-April when the Heritage is, and October when we generally have national championship, weather is generally perfect. It's not hot.
Generally,
cool. I mean, it's perfect time. You can still go to the beach. You can still do all those fun things without the sweltering heat or the cold. And again, perfect time for families and so forth. But just make sure everybody's clear. Like JR said, there are 2 weeks of the year.
Right.
If you're going to come to Hilton Head, it's got to be in one of those 2 weeks.
Right. And then he did mention October was before April. Just throwing that out there as well.
Yeah. So there you go. And hopefully he does a shirt too, which he probably will. He probably will. I hope that he does. And real quick is, before we start actually getting into anything else, please make sure everybody reads the rules and how to actually submit the shirts. If you text me your shirt, that doesn't count. Or you email me the shirt, it doesn't count. You actually have to follow the rules and post everything to Facebook, like it's outlined in the rules for it to count.
Right. I mean, we're trying to build engagement, especially on our podcast page and all of that. But it allows other people to see it and actually get a true vote. And I mean, I know with our first winner, the last couple of days before voting ended, he just sent out a post asking his friends and family to, give him one last vote before closing. And that took him from being from behind, I think, close to 10 votes to winning by almost 10. So that's our whole goal is to try to get you guys out there to get your home tour some recognition and see some pretty unique shirts out there. So we're already halfway through the season, or through the month of March, and we want to see some more entries. We want to have a big vote this month.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen Jordan's shirt, it is posted on the website. And again, we may have to go through this for a while, but it's kind of like finding the regionals, although it's not on the front page of the website. But if you go to find a tour near me, the drop down menu, go down, and there actually is a selection for the podcast, and you can find all the information from the podcast there, including the rules for the shirt contest. Jordan's pictures up there, and I've already started to populate the page with previous episodes, so you can find everything there.
Yep, we're making it easy for everybody. If you could ask any of my members, if they send me a picture of their shirt, I send it right back to them with the instructions, because I'm not about to post for you.
What do you say? Yeah, I already know what you look like. You don't have to keep reminding me.
Right. Because I probably encourage them to post it. So I send them the rules as well. And, any tour director that's listening, help us out. If you see a unique shirt out there at your events, before the round even starts, just give them the ground rules, and let's hope that we can get some more entries, and maybe one of your guys on your tour will win that free entry fee to national championship.
I actually hope it's one of my guys, but I do hope that other tours get represented and we get a ton of shirts, being submitted. Part of this is fun, but part of it also is to kind of highlight, the tours across the country and see where they're playing and the members itself. So,
right.
Yeah, we're Chris, you and I are going to have some fun with it.
Yes.
And I hope the rest of the tour joins in and enjoys some of the fun.
Yeah. At least I know I have one entry into the Elite 8 that we could call for the shirts. So I'm one step closer.
So this weekend, you've got 2-day tournament coming up, and my season actually opens up. So I'm hoping that I see some good shirts on opening weekend, and we get some good posts.
Yes, I would really hope so.
Tell me about your 2-day that you got coming up.
Yeah, so we got our first major of the year, the EPLC Masters. We're going up to Hobbs, New Mexico. If you're ever in the area, it's literally you blink and you're going to miss the town, but they have a gem of a course there. And one of my favorite holes that I've ever played is a par 5, and they have literal, I don't want to say fairway bunkers because there's no sand in it, but it's like a pothole of grass. And they're in the middle of the fairway going down this par 5 with a rock wall down the left side. And this green, obviously you can't see what I'm doing with my hands, but it's a bowl green. And that hole is usually in the middle of that bowl. So if you get it anywhere within that area, it's going to be close to the hole. And it's just a fun hole to play. But if you land in one of those little potholes, you might as well be hitting out of a bunker because you can't really see over it. It's cool. It's cool. Rockwind Community Links, playing a 2-day out there. They have a par 3 walkable course, so we do a shootout, and we all tee off on the first par 3, and whoever is the last one to get their ball in is out, with the highest score, and we keep going until we have a winner. And we have guys carrying speakers around, and we have a great time.
So you do that both Saturday and Sunday, or?
Typically Saturday afternoon. So
okay.
we'll play the round early, and then any guys that want to hang out and, grab a burger real quick to eat or a hot dog while we're doing scoring, and then let's head out. And there's a kick. You can only take 3 clubs. Okay. And that includes your putter. So if you're going to take a putter, that's one of your clubs. So these guys have to get real strategic of what clubs they want to take with them.
That sounds like a fun idea.
Yeah. So it's a good time. I will take a lot of pictures. We got a sponsor for these majors this year, which is something that we haven't had in a long time. And he's giving away a TV for everybody that goes to a major, just to collect some raffle tickets. And at the end of the year at the tour final, which is our last major, we'll raffle off a 55-inch TV.
It's awesome.
So it's going to be a pretty cool year. I'm super excited for this year.
Awesome. Well, we kick off this weekend, and we're starting. Generally, we start at another course, but we're starting at a high-end private course, first tournament of the year. So really looking forward to that. So it's a pretty good get for us. It's also going to be our member guest. So we're starting our season opener and member guest right from the get-go. So we're looking forward to being at this course. Haven't been there in a number of years. I'm sure it's going to be great.
Yeah, that's not a bad place to have a member guest. especially at like you said, a high-end private course. So that's going to bring a lot of exposure to you guys.
On a Saturday. So
honestly,
yeah,
I don't know what you did over there.
So,
but
we've talked, pretty much all off season how hard it's been to get some courses, and we really kind of lucked into a private course on a Saturday. So can't complain too much.
And there you go. That's awesome.
All right, man. Let's get some short entries and welcome back from your vacation. Hope you're not rested and let's get back to work.
Not rested?
Hope you're not rested.
I want to need a vacation off a vacation. That's because you know how it is when you go on vacation. Then you start drinking too much, and you've seen me at Hilton Head when it's vacation after golf tournament. It's a fun time.
It is. All right, my friend. Will you take care? Good luck this week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Likewise. Yes, sir. You be safe out there and enjoy your private course.
You got it. Bye-bye. Take care.
Right, bye.
Chris, we didn't do it again.
What didn't we do?
We didn't say how to join the tour.
That's right. It's simple. All you need to do is go to amateurgolftour.net, click the Join the Tour button, and pay your local tour's membership.
Thanks, Chris. Membership for 2024 is open, so register today to join the oldest, largest, and best amateur tour in the country.